Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview. Today is going to be something a little different. Where we have interviewed a bunch of different game creators. This is a virtual game creator. His name is Keith Dozois. I pronounced that right, correct?
Yeah. Not a lot of people get it, but yeah, that's the French Canadian background in there, so don't hold it against me.
Okay, good. And Keith is the creator of a game called USB Escape. I don't want to butcher it. I have not played it. Actually, I think while we're talking, I'm probably going to order one. And then maybe we can do a follow up, and I can tell you how I liked it. I'm sure I'll like it.
Yeah, and if not, I mean, you know my contact information. You can come up to my place and have it out with me personally. No, no. The reaction from this game's been pretty. It's been extremely positive so far. So I really hope you like it, and make sure when you're filling out that purchase form that you pay attention to whether you're putting in Mac or PC because they work differently depending what you have. So it's my
Gotcha.
it's my first little shout out for my game. So yeah, you hit it right on the nail on the head. It is a virtual game, so it's. I know you do a lot of like RPGs, a lot of tabletop stuff. So this is taking it from the table to the laptop or the personal computer. So it's bringing it into the virtual world, but it's an independent standalone. You do not need to be connected to a specialized program. There's no sign up or put in your special information. I give you everything and you take it from there.
Nice. So before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what USB Escape is, let's kind of talk about um, let's talk about you and your gaming experience, and kind of what brought you to creating your own game.
Absolutely. So I've been a nerd through and through, and I love my nerd brethren and sisters. I've came into the hobby through board gaming and RPGs mainly. So I lived overseas for a little while, and a bunch of us expats living in Japan. The cheapest thing for all of us broke teachers to do was to play some D&D. So like regular 5e D&D. We bought a bunch of really cheap dice, and it was just a great way to spend time together. I've been a huge fan of board games for a long time, and that's been a big part of my life. So pretty much anything that centers around a table and a group of people, I've been a big fan of. One of the big things I've really enjoyed in that time as well is the take home escape rooms. So that's what USB Escape is. That's where the escape comes from. So it's a take home escape room. So I got into this whole field actually in really through the back door in terms of what a lot of people expect. So a lot of people who are in the escape room industry, they've done a lot of those in-person rooms. We lock you in for 60 minutes and you have to get out, a lot of physical elements. And I did
Yeah.
it more in the take home aspect of it. So as everybody knows, with the pandemic that's been going on, I took this opportunity to play more of those games because you can play them solo. I've been a huge fan of solo gaming, and I found there was a lot of games that didn't quite meet my expectations, and it just turned into the one of those, you know, I think I can do better than this. And I sat down, and a couple of months later, I had a game, and a couple of months after that, I had a website and some orders, and now I'm about getting close to a full year of from concept to execution, and this game has visited 7 different countries, all over the United States and Canada. It's been across ponds. It's been in parts of the world that I wasn't even aware spoke English. So I'm really excited. So
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's really cool and very exciting. Especially, it seems like everything kind of fell in place for you.
I mean, yeah. So the pandemic helped quite a bit in the sense that people were at home looking for something to do, and it gave an opportunity to a lot of people. I'm not saying that I was the only thing. I mean, it was me and sourdough bread and at home workouts. So there was a million things to do, and I mean, a lot of the creators that I saw on your show with last couple of interviews that you did with through ZineQuest. So there's a ton of stuff to do at home, and this is just another one of the things to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I tell my wife everything, and when I said that,
That's the right thing to do.
yeah,
I'm sure there's more to your point than just that, but
yeah,
yes, we can take a second and congratulate you here. So,
yeah. And when I told her that there was a creator of a virtual escape room and it comes in the form of a USB, one of the things she said was, "I want to try it, and should we really put it in the computer?" And I told her, I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
the guy seems pretty up and up. I don't think he's, I'm just a random stranger, and I'm not, I'm sure there's a lot more prime subjects he could, steal information from if he wanted to.
Right, right. You know what? And you hit on something very important. The thing about the USB stick, and I'll give you a little look through. So this is terrible for your podcasting here, but for all those people watching on YouTube, you can see what that looks like. It actually looks like a physical key.
Yeah, it looks like a key.
So it is a USB stick, and I really wanted to. And then that was one of the original concepts for it was and you hit the nail right on the head. The number one thing that not to do is if you find a random USB stick or you're given a random USB stick and you don't know where it came from, don't plug it into your computer. I really wanted to play off that. So the thematics of putting in a foreign object into your computer that could cause a lot of issues for you is something I wanted to have as a theme for this game. So it's one of the many themes that are for this game, but in terms of practicality, this goes from the manufacturer to my computer where I copy over the game for you, and then goes to your house. So there's no really intermediary. There's actually no problem of it causing any harm. My name and my address on the return address for the game is
Yeah.
there. There's a huge amount of accountability for me. I work with PayPal and a couple of different other sites to host my my shop. So if I was doing anything nefarious, I'd be shut down
Yeah. Yeah.
yesterday. So I mean, from a logistic standpoint, you're as safe as can be. From a thematic standpoint, this is a creepy cursed USB stick that is going to not only haunt your computer but haunt your dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
absolutely.
that's the thematic version of it.
Yeah. And and the thematics, when you sent me the link, I instantly, I've always wanted to do that, Hunt a Killer and all those other games. Um, but I have personally experienced a physical escape room, so I kind of already know what I'm getting into. And puzzles and things like that are very cool. Um, I personally like them. I love getting frustrated by them because it pushes me more to want to solve them. And it feels like I conquer it when I solve it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I mean, I'm at my workstation now, so I've got these little puzzles here, and these things, wreck my brains all the time. That's called the void lock. If anybody's like, oh, what the heck is that? I've got a bunch of them sitting around my desk, but the concept of having a puzzle that is really easy to solve. If I ask you, what's 1 + 1, and you give me 2, I go, all right, good job. It doesn't bring a lot of the same type of satisfaction as when you wrestle with something. That was another one of the principles. I mean, I swear that you're in the back reading my mind here, but one of the other main principles is that I wanted to have a ton of content and value for what I have. So I know that you're in the States.
Yeah.
Your dollar is a lot higher than the Canadian dollar. So when you do end up buying this at whatever point, you're gonna be like, wow, this is man, poor guy's selling it for no money, but Canadian dollar is not so hot, so that's okay. But I wanted to create something that had a lot of value for a very good price. And so this game comes with 8 major puzzles, 1 meta puzzle, which brings you into the real world if you want to take it that far, 13 hidden minor puzzles, and that's just in the first season. The second season, which is under development, it's going to have same 8 puzzles. We're upping the hidden puzzles up to 15, and then the meta puzzle is going to stay there as well, bringing you into the real world. So there is a ton of content. It takes about 2.5 hours to 3 hours to play if you're kind of just going through it and not looking for any of the hidden puzzles. But I've had people tell me that they've played 4 or 5 hours on this game just trying to find all the bits and pieces to put together. So there's a ton of content there if you want to stick and be frustrated with the systems and the puzzles. There's even more. So it depends on how you want to go about this.
Yeah. And so season one, you've completed season one.
That's correct.
And you're going on to season two. But before we talk about season two, I wanted to talk to you about, is this a solo project, or do you have like a team of people helping you creating puzzles or doing a little real world background research?
So I am the person who is doing everything.
Okay.
So if you're messaging the Instagram, the TikTok, the Facebook, the Twitter, if you show up at my house, you're going to talk to me. If if you received a package, I put it together. I do have a team of friends and close associates that are pretty notable people that have helped me with different elements. So for season two, I've had a digital marketer who is part of the largest digital firm in the town that we're at, which is a pretty notable thing. And he's helping me with a lot of the digital side of things. In season one, I had an actor who worked with Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? So somebody who has a lot of experience on stage for the actual shoots of it. So when you're actually going through the game, you're dealing with audio clips, you're looking through like MP4 movies, you're looking through JPEG pictures, and you're using that all to solve the puzzle. So the actors that played in it, are pretty sustainable people that I know on a personal level, but they're notable people as well. So, I mean, I have one guy who was in the movie Jumper with Christian Haydenson. That's a throwback to a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But he was an actor in that. And so I've been very fortunate to have people that helped collaborate on it, but this is a brainchild of mine that I've been utilizing a lot of my resources, my work, my time kind of thing. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, for the price point that it is on your website, there's a lot of work that sounds like goes into this. Having people take time out of their day to help you create little movies, you creating all these puzzles. For the price point, you really can't beat it. I mean, the escape room, the physical escape room that I went to was $35, and you were in there for 1 hour. Yeah, per person, right, for an hour. And this is the kind of thing that I think, like, once we can actually get face to face with our friends and things like that and have a game night, hook an HDMI cord up to the TV and, let's solve this puzzle.
Right. And a big thing that I wanted to do is, as you mentioned, have low price point. But I mean, I'll let you in on a little secret. As long as you're casting to your other friends, you can put your screen up on Zoom. You can play this along with your other friends too. You need to have one person. Now, I mean, that's counterintuitive for, me selling more. But at the end of the day, I would much rather a bunch of people be able to play this game rather than, a bunch of people going, you know what, we'll wait until we can all get into a room together. So if you want to go really, full immersive, everybody could work on it at the same time and kind of have a detective group together, and you can scheme out, and that would work really well as well. But to be quite candid, you need one copy of this and you're good to go. And the best part too is that once you've solved it, the answers. It's a USB stick. It's not something that bursts into flame. You hand it off to your friend, right?
Yeah.
So,
I commend that, man. I really do, because, there could have easily, I'm sure, been a way of you kind of, after so many uses, this USB stick does not work anymore, or,
right.
There's a password protected thing for your stick, or, whatever the case may be. So I commend that as a consumer to a creator who's okay with, sharing with someone close to you.
Absolutely. I don't want a cost to be a barrier of entry. I mean, there has to be a reasonable amount. I have had quite a few people come up to me and say, hey, I want to, feature your game, but I don't want to pay for it. And then it's a judgment call on my behalf. And I mean, I don't need to talk to you about that. That's a whole different conversation for a whole different time. But the biggest thing is I want the barrier of entry to be as low as possible. to get this into the hands of as many people. And I mean, I've had people tell me about, hey, this is how you can lock it so only one person can play at one time, or it times out after a certain amount of time. And I just point at libraries and I'm like, look at these buildings. They're full of books,
Yeah.
that you can just, and nobody's sitting there going, well, what about these bookstores? They're not dying off because of libraries. So, people who want to buy this game will buy this game.
Yeah.
People who can't, for whatever reason, will buy season 2 when they have the money, or season 3 whenever they have the money, right? So
Yeah, and that's another good thing too, is if you were to hand this to your friend, it might be a jumping point for them to get into the next season. Again, one of the things we kind of didn't talk about yet is the storyline. What's the kind of general storyline of what we're investigating?
absolutely. So the storyline for season 1 follows. So it's a 3-part trilogy. Season 1's complete. Season 2's under development. Season 3's coming next year. So season 1 follows Owen Knott, the son of a mother who's passed away recently under a little bit suspicious circumstances, and he's going to sell off the family home. This game deals with a lot of thematics in terms of childhood trauma, how that plays into the grieving process, and how we end up dealing with having to kind of basically sell off the things that were ours as children. And as he's in the process of selling this off, the story unfolds through conversations between him and his sister Allie. They're all done through emails. And so it leaves enough gaps that you can make the logical leaps to understand what's happening and what's not happening, but it's not giving you everything. So you're going to have to put in the pieces to yourself. You're going to have to solve the puzzles yourself, but it has a natural flow of the story. Season 2 takes place 6 months later from the perspective of Allie, as she is trying to find out what happened to her brother, because something has happened in season 1. No spoilers, but not a big stretch to think that because this is a horror escape room, that things have happened. And she's looking into it, and she's communicating through text messages rather than emails with a film documentarian who is looking in on this, trying to make this his big piece to get set up, and what ends up happening for how much they discover about what happened to her brother. And then season 3 is a throwback to the mom and what happened in the first place to set up this whole chain of events. So it's kind of a, episode 1 Phantom Menace without the, Jar Jar Binks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if it was a movie, I'd definitely watch it. That's for sure. And the horror aspect is another reason that kind of pulled me in too. Just by looking at the website, I could tell that, this isn't just your regular run of the mill, investigation. There's going to be some horror aspect to it. It has a creepy feel to it, especially with the pictures that you have on the site and the backgrounds, and just, you get the basic concept of what's going on, and you have to get the USB to figure out the rest. So, and just to confirm, this is not a subscription. You can buy 1, 2, or 3. You can buy them all. You can, whatever the case may be. You don't need any, like an internet website or anything like that to work on this. Everything just comes on files on the USB.
Everything you said is correct. So it's not
Okay.
a subscription base. The main reason I didn't want to go with the subscription base is because these games take time to come out. So I want to make sure that this is done properly. And now I know there's quite a few other take-home escape room games that you can get on a monthly subscription, like a food box or whatever type of thing. But for escape room games, that forces a time constraint. I would much rather you wait an extra month and get a game that's twice as good, because I want to implement this extra thing. One of my favorite things about that is there's still elements from season 1 that you need to do that will connect you with me, and I'll know when you've done them, and nobody's done them yet. So there's a bunch of secrets in the first one that people still haven't discovered yet.
Oh, wow.
There's even more in season 2 that people are going to figure out maybe. And I'm really okay putting those extra things in, even if it pushes back the day that it comes out by an extra 2 weeks and nobody finds out about it. Because when that one person does find it and they're the only one who's figured it out, it's going to feel that much more special. So I think that was what you were talking about. Yeah, so it's not on a subscription base. I think that was it.
Yeah, no subscription. You don't need to Google anything or anything like that while you're investigating.
You will. It isn't. It is said right in the game, and it's said right in the on the actual website, I believe, that under the FAQ is that we didn't want to remove the idea of Googling stuff. So you're encouraged to Google stuff if you have a thought. Now there'll never be it's never going to be a riddle. The whole, the more you take, the less I give. What am I? Kind of thing. It'll never be one of those things you can Google. So you're encouraged to Google it, because what's the point of being a detective if you can't use your main resource that everybody has in their pocket? Use your phone. Absolutely. Google things. Go work on hunches. Try to push your boundaries. It is not required. It is not required at all. But you are encouraged to Google, and it's not cheating. You're encouraged to ask a friend, because if you were a real investigator looking at all this, and this was a real cold case you were looking into, why wouldn't you be able to look this information up?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not required. You're not going to have to find some obscure article from 1846 to link something back. So
good. And my biggest concern was when you started talking about Easter eggs was, there's going to be some kind of secret link, and we have to click on it. And then when we go to that site, some clue would make us go to like the 30-second word on the page, and then that would be a password for something that would open up something else.
Right. Yeah. And then that's when, so none of the Easter eggs are consequential to the game. So like I said, this game has traveled to 7 different countries all over the world. And, it's been played by, hundreds and hundreds of people, and nobody has solved at least one of the hidden riddles that I would know about. And that's fine. They've all finished the story. They've all continued to the next step. It's just there's still more there to discover if they want. So that's where the Easter eggs lie. You don't need to go to that nth degree. So it's hard to talk about these things without kind of pointing directly to specific examples. If you go to the labyrinth on the third door on the right, it's not like that at all. So
Good. So let's talk about season 2. Again, I have not played the game. I'm going to
Nobody's played season 2, so you're in good company.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about what's to come. You told us a little bit about the perspective of the sister. But one of the things that you were telling me that that you take good care in is the puzzles. So what's the ultimate goal of the puzzles in season 2?
So as you go about through, and this is the same for season 1, as you go through, there are locked files, password protected files. Well, quite obviously, the logical understanding is that to solve the puzzle in front of you, the answer to that will unlock the files, which will give you more answers will give you a continuation of the story. The nice thing is you can jump around. If you are stuck on a puzzle and you really don't want to look at the hints for whatever reason, you're stubborn, whatever, you can jump ahead and get that part of the story later. For season 2, the way that it's worked is it's even less streamlined. So the first one kind of was dictating things day by day. For season 2, as you go through these puzzles, you're collecting little pieces that is going to kind of create a fully put together puzzle at the end. The story in itself, it does have a linear type fashion in terms of what happened first, what happened afterwards, but it doesn't necessarily always follow that pattern. So you have to put the pieces together yourself. So to give a very confusing answer, a very simplistic answer is, as you go through season 2, your information ends up being useful to kind of unlocking the final piece, which will give you that fully realized aha moment of, this is what happened, this is why it's happening, and this is what the consequences of those actions are. But as you're going, you're just kind of getting more information as you move about. So that's as clear as I can make it without
Yeah.
telling you specifics. So a perfect example for that is that actually I've got them here. I'm still have all my skulls here. So we were utilizing some of these, and these are real skulls here, generously lent by one of my friends, and these are utilized in terms of one of the videos, and runes were written on the front of the skulls. They're washed off now because I have to return them, but there's runes written on the front of them, and you need to decipher the runes, and the runes are going to be in other files, and once you've put those pieces together, you'll be able to unlock more information.
Nice. That's like I said, there's a lot of things that you're putting into this for the value that it is on the site. I mean, it's a steal basically. I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but I almost feel
No,
bad.
that's okay. I
I
encourage it. If you feel that bad, there's some overpriced stickers on there as well, and you can buy those stickers. And yeah, they're beautiful vinyl stickers with the logo. That you can feel better about. But
the sticker did look sick. I do like the sticker.
I appreciate. Well, I'll make sure when you buy it, I'll don't buy the sticker. I'll sneak one in there for having me on your show.
I appreciate that.
But one thing I wanted to say about that is, yeah, there's a lot of information, but it makes sense and it has a flow. That's a big thing that I want to make sure that anybody who's kind of sitting on the fence about this, it's not too much information where you're reading, a calculus textbook and you're sitting there losing your mind. It has a flow. The things that you're doing make sense, and you know when you get a right answer and you know when you get a wrong answer. And I think that's a very important distinction to make, that it's a lot of information, but it's easy to tell what's useful information and what's not. And when you've done something, you can put it aside and be like, okay, that section's cleared off. So
yeah, that was one of the things I was going to ask is there a clear and obvious correct and clear and obvious wrong answer, so we're not chasing our tails? And I would still play it because I love the thrill of the chase, but I know there's some people out there that just, if they can't get an answer, they're just going to put it down.
So that's a good thing to bring up for sure. So I mean, they're password protected, so you get that annoying, sorry, that is not the right answer, Hal. Space Odyssey 2000 for the kids who are listening, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some nerd who's like, that wasn't the original quote. That's anyways. So ignoring both of those people, those groups of people. Also, there's a hint system in there. Now the hint system in the games is, and there's been a big effort to keep this congruent and keep you in the story. So the hint system is a password reset. So you're dealing with passwords. Obviously, when you forget your password on a website or whatever, is you forgot your password. Well, here's password resets. And, instead of what's your mother's maiden name, there are little hints that'll help you along. Hey, did you notice this and how it combines with this? Or did you notice this spot here? And what do you think that means? And as they go, the hints get easier and easier until you're like, oh, I remember my password. It was this. So it works that way. So it does everything it can to keep you in the story, in the game, as seamlessly as possible.
I really like that idea. I really, really like that idea because it makes you have to go back and double check it. And we kind of talked about, this, obviously the big secrets and the hidden secrets within the game. Are there any, I'm sure there's going to be more hidden secrets in season 2, but is there anything that's going to give away kind of like, obviously there's an overarching story to this whole entire mystery. Is there anything that's going to be like a breakthrough for season 2?
Yeah, so season 2 is the breakthrough season. So season 1 is a lot of world building, and now I'm talking especially the RPG language. So a lot of world building, a lot of setup, a lot of constructs that, especially if you play season 2, you're like, this makes a lot more sense. Now you can play season 2 without season 1. You'll miss a couple of things, but it can be worked as its own individual thing, and you can just leave it there. But you'll get more of a full-bodied story with it. So there are a lot of things that are connected. I am a huge fan. I'm going to pull it out right here. I am a huge fan of writing everything down. So I'm going to show you all the secrets to season 1 and 2 so far. So there's all the spoilers.
Make sure you pause it. Make sure you pause it so you can find out the passwords.
Yeah, take a look at it. Yeah. So they're like, oh, that was too easy. I finished it, and he said 2.5 hours to 3 hours. I got it done in 20 minutes. But things connect, things move forward, things progress. So season 1's a lot of story building, a lot of build up, and there's a lot of concrete pillars that season 2 utilizes as throwbacks, and this makes sense because of this. And season 2 is a lot of the aha moments. Season 2 is a lot more fast paced in terms of the getting those concrete answers that you want. And season 3 is the how it all started, the crunchy granola of this ties everything all in together, and you're like, oh, that's why this happened. Oh, and that's why this happened. So that's how it's all constructed. And I have things that are connected to things that I won't be able to start developing on until next year easily. So
do you kind of have the full story mapped out, so to speak? You just have to connect the dots?
Absolutely, yeah. I have everything. The only reason that all 3 seasons aren't available right now is because things take time. There's
absolutely
there's a ton of elements that I want to make sure that I get correct, and a little bit of a perfectionist where I can. And I was able to upgrade a lot of the equipment, so relearning how to utilize a lot of the equipment and making sure that there's a quality product for the end user has been the number one goal from the start. So things take a little bit more time. I'm much more happy with that, but every free moment that I have that I'm not putting a package in a parcel to send it out, I'm working on my second season.
Awesome, man. It's a lot of dedication. And we talked about you are basically a one-man band there. What kind of budget is in the mix for season 2?
Yeah, for season 2, I've utilized everything that I've made off of season 1 and is dumping it into season 2. So as I mentioned a little bit already, I'm doing some upgrades in terms of camera work, in terms of everything from microphones to create better sound quality to utilizing better programs to make everything run a lot more smoothly and a little more beautifully. So the budget essentially is paid for itself by season 1, and season 2 is going to pay for season 3. And then after season 3, we're going to find out what project gets to be next, and that's what's going to be paid for. So I don't see myself writing a serious check for myself for the next couple of years, just because I really want to create a game and a group of games that are going to be able to allow me to continue doing this as something that I'm passionate about for as long as people will keep having me on shows like yours and listening to what I have to say. So until that, and people like you are what really keeps me driven and what keeps me going. So every single cent that I have made from season 1 goes into paying for the cost and making sure season 2 is that much better. So,
all right, well, you let me pay for my own sticker.
Well, there you go. Then you're paying for a better season 3. So I appreciate that. So
yeah, and talking about budget, coming off of interviewing, I don't even know how many people for Zine Quest, everything was on Kickstarter. Have you thought of crowdfunding?
So that's a really good question. The reason why I don't want to do crowdfunding is because of deadlines.
Okay.
If I need to take this for another couple of weeks, then I can't. Speaking of budget, actually, your show on Red Beta cost me money. So first of all, I'd like to say that you're not paying for this game. You're just giving me back my money.
Yeah.
There was also superstition that that was another one of the ones that I watched that you did an interview with. That cost me money, so I backed that too. So I appreciate it. But yeah, you've already cost me quite a bit of money already so far. But that's not coming out of the USB bank account. That's coming out of my personal bank account. So
Yeah. Yeah, I if I could write it off on my taxes, I would have, but I don't think
you
they'll
can
let me.
try.
I don't
You
think
can
they'll let.
try. I'm sure the government would have a good little chuckle, but you can try.
Yeah, I mean the amount of money that I backed, creators for Zine Quest is nothing in the amount of, how happy it makes me feel to be able to help creators create and put their game
100%.
out.
100%. Yeah. If we can pivot for a second, can you tell me about because I backed 4 games.
Sure.
I backed Red Beta. I read Superstition. I seriously looked at marching orders, but I got This Is Not a Plan and Apothecaria. So those are the 4 that I got. And I almost got marching orders, but the budget started to get a little bit too
Yeah.
much for me. Can you tell me some of the highlights for you? Flipping this around, can you tell me some of the highlights from what you got from Zine Quest?
Okay, so I haven't physically gotten anything yet.
No, neither have
But
I. But
yeah, but the most anticipated, I'm anticipating all of
yeah,
them, but
you're choosing. Yeah, you're choosing
yeah,
favorite children here.
yeah,
Everybody who's listening who was part of Zine Quest, please understand that we want to
yeah,
back everything. We want to love
yeah.
everything, but
And
the ones that
I'm actually in talks right now with a couple creators that I've already talked to do a roundtable to talk, about their games and gaming and all that stuff. But I think
oh yeah, that's such a good idea.
the most anticipated ones that I'm looking forward to is I backed the highest tier for a game called Pistol Packing Bondage Nuns from Dimension Sex.
Yes, I
And
was. Yeah, I watched your interview with it, and it was already too late. They had closed it, and I was kicking myself. And true story. I did look. I watched your interview with it, and I was like, I don't care. I'll message the guy, and I couldn't find him. I spent about half an hour trying to look for him. So if he's watching this now, I want to buy your game.
I
It's
will
too late
contact
for me,
him.
but I want to buy it. Yes. Cost me, you're costing me more money now here. Like this has been a very expensive interview. So
I will talk to him. His name is Andy Lennon. Very nice person, out in Australia. So
yeah,
it was 10 p.m. our time, and it was like 4 in the afternoon the next day his time when we were talking.
yeah,
So Pistol Packing Bondage Nuns from Dimension Sex. I backed the highest tier, and in
looks
that
so
highest
good.
tier, 70 USD. That he's gonna get in contact with me, and there were only 2 slots, and I got the second slot. Was somebody's gonna contact me, an artist, and is gonna get a picture of me and turn me into a sexy bondage nun
Yes,
and
yeah.
put me in
No,
the
no,
game.
I saw that tier. Yeah, I was scrolling through. Yeah. I
uh,
was listening to your conversation with them, and I was scrolling through the completed Kickstarter, like screaming at the screen, no, why couldn't I be? But yeah, that's so awesome. I can't wait to get my part copy and get to see you look all sexy. I mean, you look
yeah,
sexy now, but
yeah.
I want to see you
I
to be
can't.
sexy.
I can't
So
wait to see a bearded bondage nun. I can't wait for it. Uh,
I'm about it.
the second, or actually, there's 2 more things I want to mention. Um, there's another one. I'm not a big D&D guy, but when I saw the artwork for this zine, I had to get it, and I have to learn how to play 5e or Swords and Wizardry. But it's called the Tomb of Immolation.
I
And
saw that, yeah.
one of the creators is a guy named Michael Harmon, and his artwork is absolutely amazing. And that kind of set me over to get that. Beta Red is another one, but I have to give some love to my Baltimore brethren. His name is John DeCampos and Tony Vicenda. They made a game called Repugnant, which is taglined as the dirtiest, most rotten game RPG made or something like that.
Yeah.
It looks disgusting, and I love it, and I can't wait to actually have it in my hands. And like the add-ons that they're putting onto it is, you can buy a pizza box, and all your stuff comes in a dirty old pizza box, and it's a really cool idea. I had to back it. John's artwork is absolutely amazing. I've been messaging him and bothering him to get some prints or something, whatever I can do to hang on my wall. The artwork's just
Right.
amazing.
Yeah. You know what? It's such a good industry for that you can have that type of communication. I mean, thank goodness both you and I aren't Justin Bieber fans because we'd never be able to talk to him.
Yeah.
And that being said, I'm Canadian, so I
Yeah.
basically am related to him anyways. But it's such a wonderful thing being able to talk to you so far, being able to talk to these other people in ZQuest, in this industry. Regardless of it's the tabletop RPGs or the take home escape room industry that I'm in, it's wonderful that so many people are being creative and through outlets like Kickstarter, or whether they are doing like myself, where it's just funded off of blood, sweat, and a lot of tears. That we're able to get stuff out and be able to talk to people and interact with people.
Yeah, and the whole goal behind all these interviews is, it started off and it was called Interviews with an Inspiration, and it was all big game creators or YouTube personalities or my favorite podcasts. I've sent emails out to comic book creators. I've sent emails out to my favorite bands. People that inspire me to want to create, play, and just better myself essentially. But I love talking to the indie creators and the smaller creators because you can see the passion and the love that still goes into it. Like if I talk
Right.
to, I legitimately, I emailed Grant Morrison, a comic book writer. And he is, I'm not going to say he's crazy, but he's a magician of some sort. And his work always makes me think, and kind of like cast a spell on me, really. If I was to talk to him for 40 minutes, that's how long we've been talking so far, I think my brain would explode just because
Right.
I couldn't stop fanboying, and because I love his work so much. But being able to see people have so much passion for what they do makes me have passion for it. So I wasn't going to back all those games that for the creators I was interviewing, but talking to them made me want to back them.
Right,
And
because you get so much more than a very cold Kickstarter page, or if you're on my website. I mean, my website is it's fine, but somebody who's just being introduced to that is not going to get the full-fledged. That's why I love doing this. So I mean, anybody who's listening in can really make a decision one way or another. And I think a very key point to this too is that people who don't want to play my game, I also want them to not play my game, because the worst fear for me is, not is get my game and realize this was not their cup of tea to start. So if somebody's already clicked off of this interview by now, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, sorry for you. You hopefully you get the views you need, but I don't want them buying my game, because that's not your game. That's not the game that's going to make you excited. I want the people who are like, yes, this is amazing. So I think that's what a lot of this does. And I think you've got it absolutely correct. Is that when you're talking to these people, yeah, you get your little synopsis, and it. The same thing happened to me with Red Beta, where I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Another, like, there's so many Zions. I got limited money. What am I going to do? And listening to you talk to them, I was like, well, goodbye money. Like, I gotta get this. This is something that's important. And I mean,
yeah,
and case in point is like the Bondage nuns, so,
yeah,
Pistol Fight Bondage nuns. I was like, well, now I got to buy this, and I got to find out how, and I'm doing extra legwork for it. So yeah.
I'll talk to Andy for you and see if we can't figure something out. I got a PDF copy, should be coming my way soon. We'll see if we can make that happen for you.
I appreciate that, whatever ends up coming from it. And I mean, that wasn't my intentions on coming out
Yeah.
here, but hey, happy coincidences. Yeah. It was my big master plan this whole time. I created
Yeah.
a company from scratch just to have this conversation between you and I. So
Yeah, let the record show that you reached out to me, okay?
that's no 100%. Yeah. I've you know what? And that's one of the nice things that I like too. And I mean, I've had different shows talk to me, and I've had to say no because I don't fit into your right groove. I've definitely had people who said no to me, but I'm really drawn to what you've ended up creating here. And I mean, I'm biased. I'm on your show. I mean, I think the guests that you have here are amazing, myself included. But I think you ask the right questions, and you're attentive with what you say, and it's purposeful, and you know what you're talking about. And I think those elements combined has really created something that has brought value to me. I know it's brought value to the people that listen in, and I know you have fans, and so I know it's brought value to them. And I'm really excited to see where everything goes from here, but I'm excited how far it's come.
I appreciate that, man. And, you know, it means a lot, because I tell everyone that I interview, you know, these interviews aren't about me. I don't make any money from this. It's all
Who's
about,
making money in this industry?
yeah,
Like
it's all about promoting people who love what they do and want to share that love with other people. You know, it doesn't matter if you write, you create by writing, or you create by drawing, or doing what you do visually, or virtually. You know, I consider that art, and whatever I can do to help promote that, I'm willing to do.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. No, and it's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thanks, man. Before we go, do you want to give us any hints about season 2, you know, other than what you've already given us? Maybe like one kind of like ambiguous phrase that might help somebody get by something, but they don't know if it's going to help them.
Okay, actually, I'm going to do something exclusive for here. I promise I won't do it on any other show. I won't talk about it to anybody else. So if you didn't hear it, you didn't do it. The one secret that I'm going to tell you is that for season 2, when you get your parcel, just demolish everything that you get. Don't take everything apart, look into every little piece, and you might be able to find something. Just take it all apart, because people take their package, they throw it in the garbage because it's the same as a receipt, or a plastic bag or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to take everything apart, and then let me know what you find.
All right. Can we pre-order season 2?
No, I don't want to have any pre-orders for season 2 until it's fully ready. I am a pretty stable person, but I get anxiety if I'm not creating a bunch of value for somebody. Really quick story. I know we said we were wrapping up. I got a message at 11 o'clock my time, because somebody was in a earlier time zone, and they said, your game's broken. That was the message I got from them.
Oh, my.
So I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out what the problem was, Googling this, because, I mean, we're dealing with technology. It's plugged into a computer. I'm like, what's wrong? And about 1 in the morning, so from 10 to 1 in the morning, I'm trying to figure this out. 1 in the morning, I said, what was the password you put in that kept giving you the wrong answer? And they're like, AKG6LB4 question mark, colon, semicolon. I was like, well, that's not the right answer. That's why you keep getting the wrong thing. And they were trying to get, the answer right, but they had the wrong answer. And what had happened is they put in the wrong code. So it said error. And the error was they put in the wrong password. Yeah. So I'm invested very heavily into my games, quite obviously. I take a lot of personal pride in it. You cannot pre-order it, because I want to make sure if I get hit by a bus tomorrow that you're getting your game. And that's why I have a clause on my computer that if I die tomorrow, that make sure my game gets out, and number 2, erase all my search history. So that's all it is. So a little sticky note on the side here. So
Well, Keith, I can say I hope you don't die tomorrow.
Me too.
I hope your search history does get deleted, though, either by you or whoever finds your computer. Why don't you let us know where we can find USB Escape? I have it all over the screen here, but for those listening, why don't you let us know where we can find you?
So you can get me at usbescape.com if you're feeling patriotic and you're Canadian, usbescape.ca. If you're still debating on whether you want to get this, the try before you buy is Instagram. You don't even need to sign up to do the puzzles because I got a bunch of free puzzles that won't show up in the games. So you can just see how my mind works, how the puzzles work, kind of get a feel. That's on usb.escape on Instagram, USB Escape on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. If you can't find me, you're not looking hard enough. You can show up at my house because we don't lock doors around where I live. Show up at my house at 2 a.m. It doesn't matter. You can find me, and I'll get you your game. But yeah, usbescape.com, and check us out there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I am going to purchase this right after this interview. Purchase season 1. Me and my wife are going to go through it, and then I will give you a full report. Back when probably more majority of my mind is saying how much I'm going to like it. I would also like to ask you if maybe not live stream the whole entire, of me playing, but maybe show like just a couple clips here and there of the game.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I'll do you one better. When you want to do it, we can set up a time and I can even bounce in to give you a clue at the moment you need it. If you need, like, I don't like whatever you need. I'm 100% for you. I've got the free time as long as you're willing to sit down with me. So yeah, if you're going to stream it, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I don't do a lot of streaming, but this is something that, I'm pretty passionate that I'm going to like. So your passion for it is driving me to want to play it even more. Perfect, so look out for my name. And I can't wait to get a package from Canada soon.
Absolutely. I can't wait for it to send it to you. And especially if you're doing it with your wife, because you can customize your stuff, there's a place when you do your order, and I'll be looking out for it. You can type in a little bit of information so I can make it extra creepy. So add a little information about your wife. I'll sneak in a little bit of stuff. Don't let her watch this interview.
Nice.
And we can make it very personal on this one here. We can make it very creepy. So
perfect. All right, Keith. Everyone watching or listening, please go to www.usbescape.com. 15 USD, and you get all this content. It seems like a lot of fun. If you like escape rooms, if you like solving puzzles, if you want to solve a mystery, if you want to have fun with your family or your friends, do it.
And it's $14.99 Canadian. So with the conversion rate, if you're in the US, it's going to be even less than that. So
well, even more beautiful. Everybody likes a deal.
Yep.
All right, Keith. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.